Our project is working fine for now, and let's explore it a little. Let's open the source, and you will see here we have a main index.html page. We have also style CSS. We can add some styles here, and in the app you will find app module, routing module. We will specify some routes for our components that we will create, and of course you have app component.html. This is a style HTML CSS code for this default Angular template. Now if we delete it, we don't actually need this is default template by Angular. Let's delete it, let's save it, and if we go to the localhost 4200 again, we will find blank page because we don't have any HTML code in our app component.html. What we need here, we only need one div. I will just create one div, and inside this div let's type router outlet. Okay, what this router outlet will do? Of course, if we return to localhost, it will not affect, we will still have blank page. Depending of the route which we will define and which component will appear in that route, it depends. We will have this router will render component in specific route that we will define. Now we don't have any route defined, and we don't also have we didn't create any component still. Let's do it. First, let's open new terminal. Okay, now we have two terminals. In this node our app is running, and in the other one we want to create some commands, but we have created a new terminal. We are in the Angular front end. First thing that we need to do, we need to enter inside the project that we have created and that we are running now, cd Angular CRUD project. And now let's create component. How we will create component? We need to type npx. Of course, you don't, I will remember you, you don't need to type, I think that you don't need to type npx if you are if you are Mac or Linux users. You need to type it in Windows. npx ng generate component. And now we need to specify location. I want to create components folder / and now we need a name for component. I will type home. We want to create home component, and now we will just click on enter. And our component has been created, as you can see. Let's close this app component HTML. Let's check. As you can see, we have created components, and we also have a home folder, and inside we have CSS. This is for CSS style for our component. We have default HTML, which is this paragraph home works. We will leave it for now as it is. This spec I don't usually use. And of course we have a Typescript where this is a Typescript where we can define some of the functions or vars for this component. And we will close it for now. What we want to do now, First thing that we need to, in order to display component, we need to define a route for that component. Let's go to the app routing module.ts, and you will see this array of routes. And let's create routes. First, I want to create home route for home component. Path will be, and here you can use single quotes, or you can use double quotes, or you can use backtick. You can use whatever you like, but I will use backtick. And let's define a route will be home. And now we also need, for that path, we need to specify which component we will use for that path. We will specify home component. This is the component that we have already created. And I also want to define this home route, home path, as a default. To create a default path, what does it mean? We want to go to the home page when we start our application, or if we are typing some invalid route, an existing route, we will also be redirected to this home component. How to do this? We will also define a path, and it will be 2 stars. We need to specify where it will be redirected. We will redirect to /home, and also we need to specify path match. It will be full. And now let's save it, and let's check our browser again. As you can see, now it's localhost 4200/home. That is why, because we have defined this home path as a default, and in the home component, in the home path, we defined we want home component to be displayed, which is good and which is working great. For now, this is just base HTML. Of course, you can change this HTML, which we will gonna do. But first thing, I want to create one more component for navbar. I will close this for now. I will type npx ng generate component, and it will also be inside components folder /navbar. We want to create navbar for our application, and let's check. It has been created. Here is navbar component. Of course, it has on CSS, HTML, the spec.ts and TS file. Let's check HTML. This is navbar works by default. Of course, we don't want that. We want to create some navbar. But in order to do that, let's include Bootstrap first. If you want to install Bootstrap in your application, you can type npm install Bootstrap, and it will install the latest version of Bootstrap in your application. But I'm get used to use Bootstrap 4. Of course, you can also specify the specific version that you want to install. I usually work with Bootstrap 4, but it's not very recommended to install it with like this with npm, because if we install version 4 with Angular 16, it will not work properly. Some features probably will not work, and this is why I will use classic install. I will include Bootstrap in index.html. So I will not run this command. You can install it in this way. If you get used to the Bootstrap 5, you can choose whatever the way you can choose, you can select your own way how you want to include Bootstrap. I will use index.html. Let's open it. Here it is. And I need to go to the browser. Let's go to Google and let's type, I want to use Bootstrap 4 in my application. And I will go here to the Bootstrap, get Bootstrap 4.6. I think this is the latest version of Bootstrap 4. And let's include this CSS. And we will include it here before head tag has finished. And also we need to include jQuery and Bootstrap.js. We can find it here, and don't forget jQuery needs to be first. After this link we can paste it here, and I also want to include a font. If you want to get some, I will just go to the Google first. If you want to import some CSS fonts, I recommend this page, CSS font stack. Let's search it. You can find many CSS fonts for your application here, and I will type Oswald. This is my favorite. This is the Oswald font. Of course, you can select another font, or you don't need to import anything. It's up to you which font you will use for your application. And I can include it here. And now let's type Alt, Shift and F to reorganize this code, and I think that will be good. I think that we have included Bootstrap in our application in the classic way with index.html. Now I can close this index.html and let's find some navbar for our component. I can close these two windows, I don't need them anymore. And now I will go to the W3 schools. I suppose that you probably already know about W3 schools. You can find very useful materials for many programming languages. And now we are focused on the Bootstrap. And in our application, you can learn, of course, or you will learn about Bootstrap 3, Bootstrap 4, or Bootstrap 5. It's up to you. And we have included Bootstrap 4 in our application. And now let's find, we are interested in some navbar. We don't need this bar with search engine. I just want classic navbar. This one, colored navbar, will be good. And let's try it. And you will find different versions. We just need to copy. We have included Bootstrap already. We just need to select one of these navbars and to copy it. I will use this with a dark background. I will copy this nav and I will delete this default HTML. I will copy the navbar, I will save it, and now let's see the changes in the browser. And we will find no changes. And why? This is because if we want to see this navbar, we need to include navbar component inside home component, because otherwise will not work. Or we can specify the root for the navbar, but there is no logic. We just want to include navbar in the home component. And also we will want to include it in another components that we will create later. Let's return. And now we can open navbar component.ts, and inside you will see this selector. And let's copy this selector up navbar. And now let's open home component.html. We have this basic paragraph home works. And we want to include app navbar on the top, but it needs to be inside the tag. And we also need to close the tag. And it should include navbar component inside home component. Let's save and let's see how it will gonna work. And now you can see great, our navbar has been included in the home component. Now we just need to change this navbar a little. Let's go back to the navbar component.html. Now here I want to type home. For home page we have categories and we also have products. I want to have these three options in the menu. The fourth option I don't actually need. I will delete it. Let's see how it looks like now. This is great, but I also want this is active. I want to remove this active from the home option. I don't need it. And I also want to delete href. I don't need href neither. I will save it. Let's refresh. It's better, but now we have lost a pointer when we are over the link. And I want to also to change the font, and I also want to move it to the right side. Let's do it. First, in the UL, we have navbar nav class. We just need to type ML auto in order to move it to the right side. I think that will gonna work. Yes, it's on the right side. And I need on mouse over event. No, it's not a class. I need to type it here. On mouse over. Yes, on mouse over. And we need to define style. When we are hovering over the link, this dot style, and inside the single quotes, let's define a style. We will just define cursor pointer. Let's see if this is working. Okay, over the home link is working, and now I will just paste it to another tool. But before that, let's reorganize it, or we don't need, we will reorganize it by default. I will just copy this and I will paste it here. And I will also, in the nav tag, I will just change a style. I will change the font. Font family will be serif. And I will transform this text to uppercase. Now let's see how it will gonna look like. And I will type Alt Shift and F to reorganize this code. And let's see how it looks like. Now it looks better. As you can see, we have a pointer when we are over the link. And this is good. I will not change the nav bar. It looks perfect. Now let's change a little this home page. Just we will give it some style. Home works default, we will delete it. Let's create some div class will be container, and because of the navbar, let's give it some margin top and margin bottom. I usually add in the style. I want to have 100 pixels. I cannot do it with Bootstrap class. And now I will create another div for our header, and let's give it a style. We want to be in the center, and let's give it a color. Color can be primary. And we will open h1 tag. We will just write something full stack Spring MVC Angular. Of course, you can type whatever you want. Now let's try to save it, and let's try to see how it will gonna work. Now it looks better. The only thing, we have a white color. I just want a little bit darker, for example, like a light gray or something, and I want to change the font. I don't like this font. I want to, because I have downloaded Oswald font, I want to use that. Let's just go. First thing, I want to go to the browser, and I want to find some color for our background. Let's go to the Google, and I can close this W3 school. Maybe we will go there again later. Let's type HTML color codes. Here we will find all the colors. Let's find some color. This is default blue. I need a little bit, just a little darker. Maybe this one will be good, and we will not add it here. Let's close this all. Let's go to the styles, CSS default, and you will see this default comment. We can delete it, we don't need it. And let's open the body tag, and let's type background color, and let's paste this code that we have. And also let's change the font family. We will use Oswald. And now let's just save it, and let's look in our application. Now it looks better. It's a light gray background, and the font has been changed, and it looks perfectly fine. And that will be all. We have completed our home component. Of course, you can do it even better. I'm not expert with CSS. Of course, if you have time, you can do this home page better than me. And that will be all for this tutorial. We will continue in the next tutorial.